Alright, 2017 has finally come to a close, these last 12 months are at an end, and we are now rolling through into 2018. I will admit, 2017 has had its moments worth reflecting on.
Strong and stable.
Okay, maybe not those moments. I am of course talking about the films that came out in 2017. There were some ups and downs, but overall I'd say this has been a pretty good year for movies. So I thought I would talk about my top 10 favourite films that came out last year, and of course I didn't see every single one that was released. There will be a brief list in the description below of all the ones that I didn't get the opportunity to watch. And of course I will be doing these according to the UK release dates, since we do tend to get the typical Oscar bait movies in January and February time. And once again, I will be ranking these simply based on how much fun I had watching them in theatres, meaning that once again, the rating system I have for this channel means jack shit. So sit back and enjoy. These are my top 10 favourite movies of 2017. Let's go. Number 10. Blade Runner 2049. I was admittedly on shaky ground when this sequel was announced because I'm a huge fan of the original Blade Runner. I think it's a very interesting film and it was well beyond its time when it came to things like norms and technology. And so when it came to this coming out later on in the year, I was really nervous when I walked into the screen and I walked out amazed. The characters are interesting, the soundtrack is brilliant, the cinematography, oh my god, that was fantastic! The cinematography in this film is undoubtedly the best I've seen all year. However though, if there is one flaw that I do have with this film, it's the runtime. That's kind of what is holding things back for me. But overall, I think this is a pretty good film to watch. I would highly recommend it. Blade Runner 2049 is a visual cavalcade of awesomeness and I highly recommend you watch it. Denis Villeneuve, last year you gave us Arrival, this year you've given us Blade Runner 2049. Thank you so much. Number 9. SpiderMan Homecoming. When Captain America Civil War was coming out, I was really unsure at first as to how they were going to portray the character of Spider-Man. But lo and behold, I loved him, and that was just from the one scene he was in. Flash forward another year and he's in his own film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe that surprisingly isn't an origin story. Fucking finally! I don't just love this for the action, I kind of see it more as a coming-of-age film focusing on Peter Parker growing up with his friends and just wanting to have a normal life. Then suddenly, over the last few years, he's had this whole new world thrust upon him and he doesn't know how to handle it. Spider-Man Homecoming melds together the subgenres of coming of age and action into a really good 2-hour movie, and it makes for a really good time at the cinema. Plus Michael Keaton as Vulture is a role I'm definitely going to be remembering for a long time. I know he's more used to doing independent films, but it was good to see him come out of his shell. Number 8. La La Land. Never thought I'd put a musical in my top 10 list, but here we go! La La Land is an exceptional film with an incredible soundtrack that you can listen to for hours. The cinematography is astounding, but overall it's actually the choreography that amazes me the most. How they were able to work together to create some incredible dance moves for every single song in the film is remarkable to say the least. Everything I've previously mentioned culminates together to create an amazing work of art that makes me so glad this was one of the first films I saw in 2017. And Ryan Gosling, you've now been featured in 2 of my films in my best movies of the year list. I doubt you're probably watching this, but I think you have a good future ahead of you nonetheless. Number 7. Baby Driver. Baby Driver is the only film that I've reviewed this year that I gave an A+ rating to. It isn't, however, the only one that I've seen this year that I would personally give that rating to. Edgar Wright has proven once again why he is one of my favourite film directors. He never fails to amaze me. Ansel Elgort's performance might be one of the best I've seen all year. And the stunts! Holy shit, that was fantastic! Apparently none of that was CGI, and if that's true then even more kudos to this film. Congratulations! Number 6. Moonlight. hey look, it's that other film that won Best Picture at the Oscars this year. Because that's not a joke that the internet has memed into oblivion to the point where I'm definitely not sick of it. Moonlight is a technical brilliance. Its use of colour, storytelling and structure molds together into this perfect 2-hour epic. It's a coming-of-age story about a young black man growing up in the inner city trying to work out his sexual orientation, and it's very interesting to watch. Moonlight is even worth watching just for the cinematography alone, which I was very surprised to learn the guy who actually did the cinematography for this film also did the same job on Tusk. Yeah, that weird fucked up film about the guy who likes to turn people into walruses. Never harms to have a wide variety of film interests, I guess. Number 5. Get Out. When I saw Get Out being advertised in cinemas, I was intrigued because I knew this was going to be different. So I went to the cinema and I wanted to see what it had in store. And wow, I was amazed and yet horrified at the same time. The main theme of this film seems to be institutional racism and the horrible way that even in the 21st century, how black people are still treated in the modern day United States of America. There is way more to this than just the thrills, the suspense and the drama. The way that this predominantly white neighbourhood treats black people that come into it is disturbing, to say the least. It comes off at first as this really calm, really quiet, really nice and suburban area with some lovely people in it, but deep underneath it is a layer of secrets that are truly, truly haunting. Number 4. Logan. Yeah! Logan was the best send-off to the Wolverine character we could possibly get. This is the X-Men film that I've always wanted to see. It was a great way to say goodbye to Logan and Charles Xavier. And the pure and raw emotion that comes from these characters shows just what the world has come to. A dark and depressing place with little to no hope in sight. But within this one girl, we do see a chance for peace. Logan is the best superhero movie I've ever seen, and you need to watch it if you have not done so. Number 3. Stephen King's It. It is incredible. It's not afraid to shy away from the downright disturbing parts of the original story. Just the first 5 minutes alone give you an idea of what's going to happen in this film. Normally I complain about how gore is overused in horror movies. This is usually because the blood is often used because a certain film doesn't have a decent plot or script whatsoever. But here it works. The young actors do a great job portraying the kids from the original story, and Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise the Clown still creeps me the fuck out. I can't wait till September 2019 when we finally get the conclusion to this. Number 2. Split. In 2015, I gave The Visit my surprise mention because I thought it was going to be terrible, but I ended up liking it. With Split, however, we see a full return to form for M. Night Shyamalan, featuring a plot twist at the end which reveals this whole story to actually be an origin for a supervillain. James McAvoy playing the 24 personalities is something that we're not going to see for a very long time. He was perfect for this role. As I was making this list, Split was working its way up and up as I continued to make more edits. It was my favourite film of the year for quite some time, but there was one that got in its way. So before I talk about my favourite film of 2017, I would like to go into my honourable mentions. These are the films that I saw in the last 12 months that I really did like, but unfortunately I couldn't include them on the list. These films are Wonder Woman, a great movie from start to finish, and it gives a new image to the DC Extended Universe. It's good to see something different coming from superhero movies every now and then. Lion, a heartwarming story of unity and separation. The story of Sharu Brianley had me close to tears as I saw this in the cinema, as we learn more about this guy's adventure to find his family in India after decades of being apart. Star Wars: The Last Jedi. A great new addition to the Star Wars universe, and my inner child came out whenever Luke Skywalker was on screen. Not to mention some of the most incredible fight scenes I've ever seen in the series were involved in this film. Hidden Figures, a story about 3 black women working for NASA in the 1960s. It was a story that showed that even though we were sending men to the moon, we still could not treat people on Earth right due to their skin colour. That was visualised perfectly in Hidden Figures. The Belko Experiment, my guilty pleasure film of the year. Think the Hunger Games, but instead of tyrannical governments and teenagers, you have corporations and grown-ups. It's filled with unexpected moments and some really good comedy. John Wick Chapter 2. Keanu Reeves and Lawrence Fishburne are reunited in this incredible sequel to John Wick. We get to learn more about who John is, as well as delving more into the criminal underworld that he works in. If I was to do a top 11 list, this would have been my number 11. Every single year before I announce my favourite movie the last 12 months, I always want to go into one more film which I thought was going to be disastrously awful, but I ended up loving it. This is what I call my surprise mention. In 2015 I gave it to The Visit, in 2016 it went to Ouija the Origin of Evil, and for 2017 I'm giving that award to Annabelle Creation. I make it no secret that I absolutely love the Conjuring film series, but I don't like the first Annabelle, with the exception of the basement scene right at the end. But this time round it was suspenseful, the characters were actually likeable, and there were scenes that creeped me out. Annabelle Creation, thank you for defying my expectations. Alright, here we are, my favourite movie of 2017. The very first one that I haven't reviewed that I'm putting at number 1. I saw this with a friend of mine at a screening in Newcastle last month, and it was an incredible experience. I am so happy to say that my favourite film of 2017 is The Disaster Artist. At the showing in Newcastle, my friend and I saw this at a double screening with The Room, and never before have I had so much fun watching a film in theatres. It was an unbelievable experience. Watching the Franco brothers adapt the story of how the worst film in history was made was eye candy. They even got some big name actors to perform as members of the original crew of The Room. They even acted out some of the most ridiculous scenes from the film in the first place, and it was just pure gold.
I did not hit her. It's not true. It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
Action!
What line? What line?
I did not hit her. It's not true. It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
It was hilarious to watch, all the way down to the costumes, the settings, and even the frames. It was reenacted marvellously. And that is why The Disaster Artist is my favourite film of 2017. Well, there you have it, folks, my top 10 favourite films of 2017. I'm currently working on my worst of the year list, which will be coming soon, I can guarantee that. But, overall, I would say this has been a pretty good year for films. I was still able to enjoy myself on more than one occasion when I went to the cinema, even to the point where I had to whittle this list down from 23 candidates. That's not a joke, I had 23 movies to whittle down to 10. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you've had a really happy holidays. Let me know in the comment section below what your favourite films of 2017 were. And other than that, guys, I've been Tartarus Pictures, and I will see you later. Good night.